If we understand the heart's the one true power, oh, there's nothing that we see is really ours. From a satellite we all will look like one. And I think you know our world's turn has finally come. Step by step, side by side, hand in hand, this whole world's a better ride. Step by step, side by side, take a little step with your neighbor. Take a little step with your neighbor. Take a little step with your neighbor, side by side.
We've been talking about the power of the mastermind, and this week I was thinking about it and praying about masterminding, and Julie and I, many of you know, Julie's father made his transition, and so we were back in New York for the services and for the sending him off on his next adventure of living. And so I want to thank all of you for your thoughts and prayers about that, and come give Julie a big hug after the service, if you will. She's been doing pretty good with it, but you know, it's a time of change, a time of grieving. It's been one that we've been anticipating for a while, but even when it comes, you know, you're not fully ready for it, as Julie would say, and I think many of you already know. But I came across a story years ago that for some reason came back to me in thinking about our mastermind and what masterminding can be and what it is. There was a man who was kind of fallen down hard times. He'd lost his job and was really having a difficult time of things, and had actually had his car repossessed. He just financially was having some struggles, but he was able to go out and find another job, and it was a good job. He was really, really very happy about it. He'd prayed about it, but then he needed a car in order to have this job. And so he was in his house, in his room, praying, and he said, you know, Lord, please, I just need a car. I need some kind of I just need good, dependable transportation. Doesn't have to be anything fancy, anything new, just, you know, just good, dependable transportation. And while he's praying, there's a knock at the door. And so he says, wait a minute, Lord, I'll be back in a minute. He goes to the door, and his brother-in-law is standing there. And his brother-in-law says, you know, we know that you've been going through some challenges here, and your sister and I we have this old car, and, you know, it's not anything fancy, it's not anything new, but it's good, dependable transportation, and we wanted to give it to you. And he said, wait a minute. He goes back to where he was praying. He says, never mind, Lord, my brother-in-law took care of it. Well, you know, sometimes things come through life in ways that we don't anticipate. We think that they're supposed to happen in some kind of amazing, supernatural, miraculous kind of way. And sometimes miracles happen when we get some insight from somewhere through ourselves and out into our world. But then we don't recognize that it's actually coming from one place, from one source. So all the grace and all the beauty and all the gifts and all the love that you have seen out here in the world and from others is coming from one source. There really is only one mind. There really is only one heart. And they were all part of it. And so when we think about all of the beauty and the wonder that we have going in life, it's valuable to recognize that it's always coming from that one place, from that one source. It's coming from that Spirit of God. And it's coming, interestingly enough, we think it sometimes is coming through our brother-in-law or someone out here in the world. And even when we see and receive gifts or blessings in some way from someone out here in the world, we really think it's coming from them. But in reality, ultimately, it comes from our openness to experiencing that blessing. It comes through us, or it doesn't come at all. You know, he could have gone to the door and said, hey, don't worry about it. I'm praying about it. God's going to take care of it. You guys know the one about the flood, right? And the guy that was on top of the roof and a boat comes by and, you know, never mind, God's going to take care of it. Another boat comes by and he says, never mind, don't worry about it. God's going to take care of it. The helicopter comes by and, come on up. No, I prayed, God's taking care of it. We've done that as well, haven't we? We've ignored the blessings that are available to us because it didn't come in the way or in the time or the way that we think it's supposed to show up. But it always shows up. It always shows up. But we have to be in the place where we are connected to an energy, an awareness, a consciousness that allows those blessings to come into us and through us and come into our awareness in such a way that we can receive it and we can accept it. You know, one of the things, how many of you decided to come here this morning and you made up your mind, maybe you got up this morning and said, well, I'm going to go to church, you know, I'm going to come to Unity. And then you said, but I'm going to leave there exactly as I came. I'm going to suggest to you, if you did, you might as well go ahead and go out now, because that's not what we're about. If you didn't come here with an idea and awareness that you were going to somehow be different, somehow be changed by showing up and being a part of this group, by being a part of this consciousness, by being part of this energy of this community, you might as well go watch reruns on television. Nothing wrong with reruns on television, but do they change you? You know, the truth of the matter is we're oftentimes going through our life watching a lot of reruns, aren't we? Not necessarily reruns on television, but reruns of our life. And if we don't want to continue to have the same thing in our life that we had yesterday, then we have to be open to and willing to change somebody else, right? Change them. You guys know the them I'm talking about. Otherwise, you wouldn't be laughing. Am I right? That tends to be, there's a part of us that wants that. We want to change them. And we think if them would change, somehow our life would be just magnificent, wouldn't it? Yeah. But the reality is, our coming together here is for the purpose of allowing ourselves to be different. You know that old saying, you know, if you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you always got. And insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. And so we're here for the purpose of not necessarily, interestingly enough, we're not here for the purpose of changing. We're here for the purpose of being changed, of being transformed. Paul said, be ye transformed by the renewing of your heart and mind. He said mind, but at that time, the word mind really meant all of it. The thinking and the feeling, being transformed by the consciousness that is within us and moving into a different energy and a different awareness of the possibilities that we are here to live into. We are here as a mastermind, whether we recognize it or realize it or not. Now, here's the thing about a mastermind group. I wanted to talk to you today a little bit about what it means and how you can really tune into the awareness of the mastermind. And it really involves being willing to step out of, we're here to go out of our mind. We are. We're ultimately here to go out of our mind. Now, some people say that means to go crazy. Well, some people will say it's crazy. Some people will say it's spiritual, it's mystical. Some people will say it's divine. There is a divine level of awareness that we're all a part of. There's a divine level of consciousness that we can tune into and tap into. And we do that many times primarily through our times of meditation and prayer. And it's important for us to practice these principles and to practice these practices that help us to tune into a higher awareness. But one of the most valuable, most powerful ways that we can actually tune into that is having a group of people who are in harmony with each other. Let me say that word again. A group of people who are in harmony with each other for the purpose of manifesting a greater you, a greater them, a greater us, a greater we. That there's more in us than is currently being expressed, and that we're being called to come together with people of like heart and mind in a group that is structured and in such a way that we are being challenged and stretched and nudged, not necessarily coerced, no, that's not harmonious, but invited to see and to know and to recognize the genius that you truly are. I told you last week that you're all geniuses. Now, I know you know that on some level. You already know that. I just helped affirm that for you. The truth of the matter is you are geniuses. And the word genius really comes from the same word as the root word of genie. You are magical. There's a magical part of you. And when you allow yourself to go out of your mind, there's another energy, another awareness, there's another mind that you can step into that is on a higher awareness and a higher vibration and a higher energy. And when you do that in a group, each one in the group actually is then lifting each other up into that higher knowing, that higher consciousness. You're affirming and you're seeing it for them in a way that they perhaps could not have seen it for themselves. And they're doing the same for you, helping you see beyond your own limited concept of who and what you are and who and what you've come here to be. This idea of the mastermind is not something that is new. It's something that Jesus himself practiced. He called to him disciples. Now, a disciple is basically one who is it seems to be thought of as something that is, there's a teacher, a guru, a master, or whatever, and then there are the disciples of the teacher. But it's important to understand that it really is not a hierarchical system. It really is a collective, because there are no gurus, teachers, whatever, without disciples. And there actually are no disciples without one who has an awareness of the possibility within each and every one of those disciples. And the 12 disciples that Jesus attracted and drew to him were reflective of powers that Jesus himself had and was developing even more of and growing into. There are those who say that Jesus was born God and was always God. And I'm going to suggest to you that's absolutely true, and so were you. But just like you and I, we don't always remember it. We don't always know it. And Jesus is one who actually evolved into a fuller knowing of the amazing gifts of spirit. In Unity, Charles Fillmore coined them the 12 powers of man. We're not going to go into all the 12 powers today, but many of you are familiar with the 12 powers. Faith is one of the most significant ones. Love certainly is one of those powers. We all have those powers and abilities within us, and these 12 disciples represent some aspect of our consciousness. And Jesus called them forth to bring forth that power and that energy more within himself because he saw it in each of these disciples and knew that this was someone who would draw that even more from within himself. And so he created a mastermind. You and I have the opportunity not to necessarily draw disciples, but to attract to us those people who are going to help us to discover even more of those unique divine abilities, those unique divine energies that are part of our consciousness. And if we're not doing that, we're not really living to our fullness. We have a tendency to go through life, and we oftentimes draw to us those people who are there to help us find all of the ways that we're not living up to who we truly are. And anybody have anybody that reminds you that you're not who you truly are? Yeah. In fact, they're there to make sure that you know that you're not who they think you should be, for sure. Right? That's not your mastermind group. In fact, you want to surround yourself with people who are there with an understanding and awareness that they themselves are growing into something more, and they're there also to help you see that you're growing into something more as well. And they don't do that by pointing out the ways that you're not there. They do it by helping you to have the courage, the strength, the faith, and the commitment and the accountability to take the steps that you need to take to move from where you are right now into where you know you can be. And they're there to believe for you in those moments and those times when you're not able to believe it for yourself. That's the power of the mastermind. See, there are people in your life can believe something for you that you can't currently believe for you. They can see beyond your limited thinking. They don't have it. They've got a different kind of limiting thinking. They got their own limiting thinking maybe. And your job is to help them to see beyond their own limiting thinking. Is to move past the status quo. Is to move past where you are now so that you can live more fully into an awareness of the power that is there trying and knocking at the door of your consciousness to come through in a way that hasn't come through before. How many of you in this group have read the book Lessons in Truth? Quite a few of you. That's good. You know, reading that book will do absolutely nothing for you. Just reading it, I mean to say, will do absolutely nothing for you. I know a lot of people have read that book. It's transformed a lot of people in their life. And it's not because they read the book. It's because they read the book and they made the choice and decision that they themselves were going to be the best possible vehicle, channel for that truth to come through their life. How many of you read any of Eckhart Tolle's work? It's absolutely worthless to read that stuff. You know that? It is. Reading it will do nothing for you unless you are willing to let that work be in you and come through you as your greater possibility. Anybody here read Discover the Power Within? Jack Butterworth? Yeah. Yeah. How about the 4 Spiritual Laws of Prosperity? Anybody read that book? How many have read any of the prosperity work by Edwin Gaines? Yeah. Stuff is worthless. Reading it is absolutely worthless unless you're willing to follow the steps and the principles at work. See, the mind thinks that reading something means you know it. The intellect thinks, oh, I read that book. How many of you read the Bible? Or at least some of it. I'm going to really step on some toes here then. Reading the Bible is worthless unless you are listening for what it is there to teach you. It's not about the words that are on the page. It's about the word that's coming into your consciousness. It's coming into and through you in a way that helps you to see yourself differently, to see life differently, to be willing to open yourself up to something that is greater than your intellect and greater than the mini-me that chatters in our brain, our mind. And the power of the mastermind is having people in your consciousness and your circle that you have drawn there for a specific purpose. Now, generally, a mastermind group is anywhere from 4 to 6 people. Generally, if it gets to be more than that, it takes too long and people get tired and bored with it and they give it up. So you want to draw into your experience people who are of like heart and mind, and you want to draw people into your mastermind group that are not addicted to, how should I put it this way? That are not habitually negative. We have a tendency to draw into our lives people who are there to feel sorry for us or for us to feel sorry for them. Now don't get me wrong, there are times when it's important for us to be compassionate. But you do not want people in your mastermind group that are habitually on a channel of finding what's wrong, of looking for the faults, of looking for all of the difficulties and really hanging out in the energy of complaint. Complaint is always, when there's complaining going on, you can bet that the ego is present. Complaining is always of the ego. It is. You want to surround yourself with those who are attuned to and committed to and are focused on manifesting a greater possibility and a solution. And so you draw to you people of like heart and mind that are ready and open, 1, to be changed, and 2, to help you see past your own limiting thoughts and ideas and beliefs so that you can live into a greater knowing and experience of your possibilities. So I'm going to ask that we take some time in our meditation time today. Will you be willing to be a mastermind group with me and with each other? And will you let me take you through an experience of the steps of masterminding from a spiritual perspective? And I'm actually going to share something that I'm going to ask you to mastermind for me for. Now, we've probably got 30-something people here, so we don't have the time or the awareness to really kind of go around and have each and every one of you do this and go through the actual mastermind process and steps. But we're going to ask you to do this kind of in your own mind. And so as we begin to prepare for our meditation time, just be open to allowing the Spirit to work through you in this mastermind process. And I think we're going to have a song, and then we'll move into our meditation.
I see the beauty in you. I see the power in you and in His love. Ooh, I see the beauty in you. I see the power in you. I see the greatness in you, and so it is. I see the child in you. I see the sweetness in you. I see the softness in you, and so it is. I can see it. It's right there before me. I can feel it deep in my soul. I just know it, that you are an angel full of magic and power and pure sweet love. I see the goodness in you. I see the wisdom in you. I see the strength in you, and so it is. I see the joy that's in you. I see the light shining through. I see the love that is you, and so it is. I can see it. It's right there before me. I can feel it deep in my soul, and I know it, that you are an angel full of magic and power and pure sweet love. Ooh, this beauty, this power, this greatness in you, this power, together in greatness, you are love, 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 love.
So let's take a nice deep breath and breathe into the heart space. And I invite you now to let your heart and mind be open to that one presence and one power, the mastermind. And we're going to move from a consciousness of 110 to a consciousness of 220. We're going to open our awareness to a higher vibration, to a higher energy. And to do that, we're going to bring our energies together in harmony. And so just take a moment now and send out a thought of peace to the person to your right, person to your left, person in front of you, the person behind you. And just surround this energy in this room with a knowing of the one heart and mind. There's an infinite power at work here. And so, to begin with, let's just be open and surrender to that power, knowing that it is more than our own individual thinking. consciousness and beliefs and attitudes, that there's something higher at work, I surrender to this power. I'm open and receptive to something more, something higher, a higher vibration, a higher energy. And I acknowledge, can you tune into that? Can you believe that? Are you willing, do you believe that there is something higher right now than your own individual thoughts and beliefs and attitudes? I know you do, because I can feel it. And I acknowledge that I am of myself, my personal ego, personality, consciousness, not able to resolve my challenges, my difficulties, my problems. But there's something more, though, that is always available to me, a higher understanding, a higher insight. And I'm open to whatever way that comes to me. And I'm open and receptive to allowing that higher energy, that higher consciousness to change me, to transform me. And I'm willing to be changed and transformed so that I can live and move and have my being from a higher level than I have been before. To see through the eyes of love and peace, to have the faith and assurance that things are working for our greater good. To trust and know that there's something more, and to let go of any fears and doubts and worries that I have preoccupied my mind with, to release them into that assurance, that higher vibration. And I'm willing to release anything in my consciousness that would stop me from being open to the insights, the awareness of Spirit. Any darkness or any limiting beliefs or thoughts, any frustrations or resentments, any hurts or fears. And I'm willing to forgive. Forgive anyone who may have harmed me or hurt me in some way, or even myself. And if I don't know that I can forgive, then I'm willing to express even just the willingness and ask for help. And letting go and trusting. And then even loving that part of myself that has difficulty forgiving. And I ask of the Mastermind and I ask this for myself, and this is real for me. I ask that I be able to be the best and highest channel of spirit that I can be. And that I allow that spirit to work through me in ways that are beyond my limited belief system, so that I can be an instrument of God's love and light to this spiritual community and out into the world. And will you now, as a part of this mastermind, hold this awareness and this vision for me? And as you are here, if there is a desire of your heart, in your mind, speak that desire to the mastermind. And will you believe for the person to your right and to your left that they already have their heart's desire, whatever it is? And the person behind you and the person in front of you, and each one in this wonderful consciousness, see them experiencing the transformation, and that they are experiencing and receiving whatever it is their heart desires. And then as you allow yourself to know that and feel that for yourself, and to be supported by those in this room, and assuring that it is already so in spirit. Feel what it feels like to already have, do, and be whatever the heart desires. Know that it's already so. Feel what it feels like. Breathe into that relaxed place of assurance. At this point, you don't even have to know how. If the word or the idea or the question of how comes into your mind, let it go. And then let yourself think of and be open to any guidance of spirit that can move you in the direction of that desire. And maybe there's a step that comes to you. It may not come at this moment, it may come later. But in your heart, take this moment to make a decision and make a commitment that you will make and take that step. Whatever it is. As crazy it sounds, as strange as it may seem, see yourself taking that step and make that commitment now that I will take the steps that I'm guided to take. And then be open. Be open to the Spirit, to the universe, to your mastermind group, for any insights that may come to you through those in your life that can move you a little closer, move you a step further along your path to being the one you have come here to be, to living out the fullness of your wholeness and your purpose. And give thanks that you are already whole. That is so. It's already done. And let your heart come into a feeling of gratitude, knowing that the mastermind is already manifesting your heart's desire. So it is. Take a nice deep breath. Breathing into that heart space, take another nice deep breath. And when you're ready, gently open your eyes. Be present here and now. And so it is. Thank you. Thank you. I felt that. I felt that. All right. So we take this time now to allow that energy to work through us even more by being a part of and recognizing and acknowledging that we are a part of a divine flow. That you don't hold on to anything that you are not willing to give. Do you know that? You cannot keep something that you're not willing to give. It doesn't happen. We think it does. The world teaches us that we have to hold on to things in order to have it. But that's the opposite of what Spirit tells us. And Spirit tells us that we have to send it forth and be willing to share and to be willing to give. And in that giving, we actually are already receiving. So we bless our tithes, our offerings, our gifts with the truth. Together? Divine love flowing through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive, and all that I am becoming. And so it is.